The Tennessee Volunteers are in the midst of spring practice, and there is one thing that quarterback Nico Iamaleava says he is really working on this offseason that should be a part of a year two leap in this Josh Heupel offense. Hey, Lucas Panzica here from 104.5 The Zone and A to Z Sports. So, Tennessee in the early portion of spring practice at this moment. In fact, the Vols are on spring break, so they will return to practice next week in anticipation for that spring game on April 12th. But after the first week of practice, or a few days in, select players and coaches were made available to Tennessee media, including quarterback Nico Iamaleava, who, of course, is coming off his first full season as Tennessee's starting quarterback. And when Nico was asked about some things that he's working on this offseason, of course, as it is for any player, that list will be very long. But for Nico Iamaleava, he specifically talked about his leadership on and off the field, and also about being a more vocal leader with his teammates. In fact, Nico said, quote, stepping out of my shell as something that he is working on, getting up and talking in front of the team, something that maybe he didn't do as much of as a redshirt freshman last year as this team's starting quarterback. Now, certainly there are a lot of things for Nico to work on this offseason, as there are for any other player. Decision-making, accuracy, consistency, all things Nico has to build on from a solid year one as a starter to really take a leap to be one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football in 2025. And make no mistake, that is the expectation for Nico Iamaleava. But another portion of this is Tennessee needs Nico to step up as a major leader for this football team when you look at the leadership void that is left from that 2024 squad. Players like Brew McCoy, like Cooper Mays, players like Dylan Sampson that often were in the middle of that huddle, that had so many snaps and games under their belt, that were players that younger players on the squad, like Nico Iamaleava, could lean on. A lot of those guys are out the door. And when you look across this roster on offense, you look at a wide receiver core that is largely unproven, that is extremely young, and you're also looking at an offensive line with a ton of new faces. The most important element of continuity within this Tennessee offense is Nico Iamaleava coming back for another year as this team's starting quarterback. So that leadership on and off the field, something Nico is working on. Now, that can come in many forms, right? It doesn't mean Nico has to be walking up to teammates, grabbing them by the face mask and yelling in their face. He will find his own way to develop as a leader, but there is no question it is something that he publicly is working on and something that could help propel him as one of the best quarterbacks in the sport in 2025.